Hello chess friends and welcome to Azarov's chess channel and welcome to the part 9 of the hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense. So in my previous video we did this continuation with this very aggressive a5 move, and after white played the move f3, the d5 move, and we did the continuation when e takes d5. So let's see again this line. We have here e4, c5, knight on f3, g6, d4, bishop to g7, knight on c3, c takes d4, knight takes on d4, knight on c6, bishop to e3, knight on f6, so bishop to c4, castling, bishop to b3, and now a5, and now f3. In my previous video after d5 we had this continuation e takes d5, which in the continuation black played here knight on b4. So today we do another line. We do when bishop takes on d5. So let's see this line. If bishop takes on d5, now we have a knight takes on d5, and here we have e takes d5. And here of course we play again this move knight on b4. Again white will try here with knight from d to e2 to protect this d5 pawn. So let's see this continuation, and I wanted to show you a really nice game. It was played between Nick Defirmian and Alexander Wojtkiewicz, and here Wojtkiewicz with black pieces. He plays really aggressively this hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense, and you see white's problem is he's a little bit stuck here on this defense of this d5 pawn. Meanwhile, while doing that, black can really gain some piece activity here with bishop on f5, and that's the main idea, to attack here this c2 pawn. And here white played of course rook on c1, defending this pawn. So now in our hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian style, we played this again, this minority attack with b4 we are creating, and I'll talk about this minority attacks in my middle game strategy videos. So I'll do this common attack when you have this situation, when you have maybe 2 on 3 pawn situation here. Then you create this minority attack in order to weaken this in order to weaken this pawn structure where your opponent has the advance on. And of course this b5 is of course a good move. Now if knight takes on b5, we can simply take this pawn on b2, and again deflect the rook from the defense of this c2. Of course if rook on b1 comes, then we have bishop takes on c2, and of course it's a better continuation for black. So that's why here white simply castled, and he secured his king. But you see again we managed to get out of this opposite side attacks in the hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense. So white didn't castle here queenside and didn't create this common attack here on the h file. So that's a good thing. But because basically in the most of the Sicilian games they lead really into this opposite side attacks, and they're really annoying, and basically white's always this one tempo up, and he'll get fast on the attack. So I think this is really a nice line. We are a pawn down, but we can continue our attack after castling. You see we have here now this attack on c2. Now we have rook takes on c2, and now of course bishop takes on c2, queen takes. Okay, we gave up 2 pieces for the rook, but at least we can continue to attack. Now the move b4, knight on a4. Now we can simply take this pawn on d5. Now if your opponent plays knight on b6, we can play simply queen to e6, attacking this bishop. So after bishop on f2, we have rook to b6. Here Alexander Wojtkiewicz played really aggressively, and now the knight comes here on c4. We have again rook on c8, simply pinning here the knight on the queen. That's why white played here the move b3. Now rook on d8, we want to get use of our rooks. The position is now really open, and we of course want to bring the rooks on this open and semi-open files. So we have here rook on e1, sort of a discovered attack on the queen. But now black simply continues to go forward with this move a4. Of course, b takes a4 isn't good. We can simply then take this knight. So now we have this discovered attack, knight on f4. Now queen to f5, which is perfectly fine. We want to get rid of the queens, because when you have this situation, when your opponent has pieces instead of rooks, so these pieces can create some nasty attacks. Maybe here on the squares g5, maybe they can jump here on e5. So we don't want to have the queens anymore on the board. So after queen takes on f5, we have g takes on f5, and now white played here knight on b6. Of course, this is a supported knight, but now we can really infiltrate with our rook on the second rank, which is the main idea. And if we double our rooks on the second rank, we can create here really a nasty attack, and maybe attack this bishop or even this pawn. So this is now a perfectly nice coordination of the rooks. Here this Alexander Wojtkiewicz played really well. He played really actively, and he didn't lose any tempo so far. He played straightforward, and that's what I liked about this game. I think this game is really showing all of the potential of this hyper accelerated dragon Sicilian defense. But what I like about this game, that you can really memorize it easily. You can simply play this, as I said, this b5 move, and then simply go for this c2 pawn that was protected by the rook on c1. I think it's really a clear line for you, and okay, maybe you can say this is not immediately winning for black, but I think this is a good position. It's playable, and of course I want to also to try really this opening line. So here we have knight takes on a4 by white, rook takes on a2, again with possibilities. We are staying on the second rank to play to play rook on d2. This is our main idea. And now we have a rook takes on e7 by white. Now comes a very important move, bishop on c3. This bishop on c3 has a double function. Black is really threatening now to play immediately the move rook on d1 with the check, and this bishop is of course preventing here this move bishop on e1. And this other function that this move has is it gives black here this breathing space on g7. So that means that we can play with our rook very actively. We don't worry about some checks here on the 8th rank. So this is very good. So of course, if knight takes here on c3, then we have here a passed pawn, which is also good. And as I said, this queen trade was really good by black, because we don't mind to give up anymore our dark square bishop, because there are no queens anymore on the board. And as I said, the queen work really fine with knights and bishops, and you see we get rid of this some maybe attacking ideas on dark squares. So first this trade of queens was good on f5. Now we can play very active with our bishop. So now comes rook on king on f1. Now we have rook on d1, and here white tried to defend himself, but here of course black goes simply straight forward for this bishop. And now we have this knight on c3, b takes c3, but you see we have this very nice pawn. It's already on the 3rd rank, 2 moves to promotion, and of course white has to stop that, and he plays the move rook on e2. But the move c2 deflects really the rook from the defense of this bishop. So white has to take rook takes on c2. Now we have rook takes on e1, and it's now a completely winning game for black. Let's see now the continuation. We had here king on f2, rook from e to c1. We just want to get rid of the rook now and take this pawn, and after that it's a winning game, of course, for black. So we have here rook on e2, rook on c5, rook on e8, king on g7. You see how important this bishop was to get rid of it here on g7. Now the king can be attacked one more time, but it's really not a problem. Then we can maybe go again here on g6, or maybe h6, simply attack on the knight. So there's no way for white here to mate the king with the knight and the rook. So now we have rook on b8, but here is where white resigned, because we can simply after that maybe play here rook on b1, attack this pawn, and after that just follow it and take it immediately. And of course, as I said, if we trade the rooks, it's a winning game for black. So I hope you enjoyed this game. I think this is a very important move. After here we have here knight on d5, and then e takes d5, now knight on b4, knight on e2, and now this bishop to f5, this bishop to f5. And don't worry about this trade here on f2. You can do it, of course, but this b5 preparation is very important, because we want to create really this minority attack on the queen side. We want to create here as much as possible weak pawns on the queen side, and then attack it with the rooks. So I think this is playable, and as I said, I think this is a really clear line. It's easy to memorize, and combined with this with my previous video, I think we will have a really nice repertoire against e4. So as I said, you can also watch my previous video of this hyper accelerated dragon Sicilian defense, or if you have troubles playing against d4, you can also watch my King's Indian videos, which I think is also a nice opening and really an aggressive one. And of course, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching. Chess is the best.